Hi guys, in this video we will discuss about pivot table. Basically, pivot table is a reporting tool wherein it will give us a summary of our data file. And if we will compare it to a basic table or a tabular report, pivot table is more flexible because you can play with the table, with the columns, with the number of rows, and the number of data or field that you want to capture. Whereas in table, it is fixed and you have to use sophisticated formulas like sum ifs, count ifs, and it will take time for you to formulate those formulas if you are not familiar in doing formulas. Okay, so we have here a data now. I have here a refund data of a particular business, and the fields available are location, document number, username, the date, the amount, classification, mode of payment, aging, and sales associate. So we will create a simple pivot table with one column only. So how to create the pivot table? First is you have to click in the inside the data. Just ensure that nothing is blank in your data. It should be filled up. All the cells should be filled up properly. And if your data starts from row 1, okay, this row 1, then you can just highlight all the columns so that whenever you have additional data at the last row, you can just refresh your pivot table and it will capture it accordingly. So let's start. Let's create our pivot table. Let's highlight all the column from A to H. Then go to insert and then click pivot table. Then this dialog box will appear. So there are fields that you have to answer here or fill up. Okay, the table range. So since we have highlighted all the columns from A to I, so it's showing us here basic pivot A to I. So the name of our sheet is basic pivot A to I. And the next field is choose where you want the pivot table to be placed. So it's either you can create in the new worksheet or existing worksheet. New worksheet is it will create a new worksheet before our main file here on the left side. If it's existing worksheet, it will create a table here in our file itself, wherever destination or wherever cell that we wanted him to put the table. So let's do it existing worksheet. Okay. So existing worksheet, where is the destination? We'll put it in L2 and then enter. So here is the pivot table. So let's undo. I'll show you how it will be done in the new worksheet. Let's go again to insert pivot table, then new worksheet. There it goes. It went to the left side of pivot table, basic pivot. So this is a sheet 5 because I already created some pivot table earlier and deleted it. Okay. So this is the pivot table fields. So what are these? These are basically the headings of our file. So ensure that your file has headings. Okay. If you have blank headings, then it will create problem in creating your table. So what are the areas below? This is the filter where if you want to filter, to do some filters in your pivot table, you can place it here. And then columns, this is the column head, okay? And then the rows will be the name of the fields will be arranged into rows. And then this value field, these are the numbers or the values or the amount. So let's choose now whatever fields that we wanted. Now, since this is a refund report or refund data, I want to know how many refunds were processed each location. So we'll put in the row the location. So you'll just have to click and drag, okay? And then the mode of payment, I want to be in the column. So click and drag and then release. And then the value is in the amount. So click, drag, and release. Now it shows as count off. You can just if it's showing count off, you can just click the drop down list here, drop down arrow here, and then choose value field settings. So here you will see what are the how the datas are shown in this particular field. Basically, by default, it should be sum, but since I'm doing some pivot table earlier and I use count, that's why when we did it now, the count was captured in a table. But we can change it into sum. So remember how you can change the values or the field selected here. So you can do sum, count, average, maximum, minimum, and product. So you have variety of options here, okay? So sum. So now, if you can see in the table, we have the blank here, the blank in this last row and blank in the last column because we have highlighted the full column. So if we want to remove this blank, we can just go to the drop down arrow here and then tick blank, then it will remove, okay? But if you don't want that blank that will be showing in your pivot table, don't choose the whole column. Just go to a particular particular cell, and then click pivot table. Now let's create a table without the blanks. Okay, so I'll go to one of the cell, then pivot table. Okay, so it created here on the left side again. Okay, so we will choose again the location. Okay, the mode of payment in the column and the amount. So just click, drag, and drop. Okay, so the blank column and rows now are not visible, and you don't need to go to the drop down arrow and then untick that blank. So you don't need to take those extra steps. Okay, now as I've said earlier, you can play around with the pivot table. So if you want to change, this is the report that you created. You want the location on the column, on the row, and the mode of payment on the column. Now you want to interchange it. So what you will do is to just swap the two. Okay, you can just click and drop the mode of payment, and then location, click and drop. The row column, the row earlier was the location, now it was in the column now. So it is the heading in the columns. Okay. Now we will do the formatting of this pivot table. If you can see the amounts, okay, the amounts are not in uniform. Okay. So how to make it uniform, or how to make it more presentable? So you just highlight one of the cell, okay, and then go here in the values, and then click this arrow drop down, value field settings, and then number format. So you have an option here. We'll go to the currency, okay? So if you want to have a dollar sign, you can put the dollar sign. And if you want 2 decimal points there, you can do so also, okay? So for now, I'll remove the dollar sign, okay? And then 2 decimal points. Then click OK. Now we can see that the numbers are not in any particular currency, and it was in 2 decimal points. Now we want to check or verify the details of each numbers here. So we'll just choose the mode of payment is card and the location is Cebu. What you will do is you'll just highlight the particular cell, double click the particular cell, okay? And then it will show you the full details. So everything, all the data in our original file will show it here. But which field or which criteria you have chosen is card payment and then Cebu. Is it card payment? Okay, card payment and Cebu. We'll just double check the amount. It is 239,692. So it is 239,692. Okay. So that's how to check whether the amount in our table is tallying with our data. Now, if you want to add more details into this report, we want to add more column or rows. Okay. Now, we'll just go back to the previous arrangement. The location will be here, and then mode is on the column side, so that the report will be less. I mean, the number of columns will be less. Now we want to know who are the sales associate or the salesperson in each location who made those refund. Okay, so these are the arrangement now. So we have Bicol, Cebu. These are the location, these are the associate, and these are the mode of payment. Okay, now we want to put subtotal in each location. So where we will go? We have to go to design, then subtotal, then show subtotals at the bottom of the group or at the top of the group. For now, I'll put at the bottom. So it shows the subtotal here. Okay. If you don't want the subtotal, go again to subtotal and then do not subtotal. See, there's a blank space here. There's a blank row. Okay. You can remove that. You have to go to blank rows and then remove blank after each cell. Okay. And then sometimes our report is not in proper format, not in tabular form. You just have to go to report layout and choose whether tabular or outline. Okay. So this is the outline one, and this is the tabular form. So if it's tabular, all the datas are starting in the same row, whereas in outline, so the location will be on the first row, and the sales associate on that particular location will be below that on the next column. Okay, but now I want in tabular form, this one, because I don't want any extra columns or extra rows. Same way, if you don't want also grand totals, you can just remove the grand total. Go to grand total here and then off for rows and columns. So the grand totals are not coming now, okay? But we will return that one. On for rows and subtotals. Another one is this, if you can see this line here on the left side of BCol, we can also remove that. Okay, let's go to this analyze, and then there's a tab here, buttons, okay, plus and minus buttons. You can just click that. Okay, so all those minus signs are on the left side are removed now. If you want to put it again, you can just click it. Okay, and then if you want to hide, okay, this second column, you can just double click each location. Okay, double click, and double click. So your report will become compressed. Now, if you want to show the details, you just have to double click again. Double click, double click, double click, double click, and double click. Okay, so all the details are there now. Now you can do the formatting as well. You can put the heading into the center. Okay, and then you can put a border. Okay, and then now let's go to design. Okay, and then we can choose here accordingly. You just choose this black, okay, black and white. Then if you want to have an alternate color in between the rows or in between the column, you can do so using these two options, banded rows and banded columns. Let's see banded rows. You can see the colors are alternately colored. Gray, white, gray, white. Okay. How about banded columns? So same way, it was colored alternately. We can mix it also like this. Okay. So it's according to your preference. You can do whatever formatting that you can do now. You have all the options in this design. Okay. So by now, you know how to create a simple pivot table. You know how to format it, how you format the numbers, how to format the table on a tabular or outline form, how to choose a design, and what else? How to make it more presentable to the audience or to the user. So on my next video, I will show you how to incorporate slicer in the pivot table. Okay, so for now, thank you and bye-bye. Please don't forget to check my channel if you want to know more about Excel. So God bless everyone. Keep safe.